Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike, and this Saturday at Survivor Series, the WWE has a unique opportunity ahead of them. They have set up the Women's War Games match in a way that they could set up a history-making moment for Tiffany Stratton. Now, the Women's War Games match, as both of the champions on the same team alongside Tiffany Stratton, who just happens to hold the Money in the Bank contract. And WWE teased this last year with Damian Priest, potentially cashing in on Seth Rollins during War Games. And could we see Survivor Series become Tiffy time? Now let's look at this here, right? We have both Nia Jax and Liv Morgan on the same team. And of course, we all know Tiffany Stratton can cash in on whoever she wants. And they've been teasing the stuff with Nia Jax, which obviously I think that's kind of where I think they're going to go eventually, with Tiffany Stratton cashing in on Nia Jax, because Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan are still in a feud, and maybe Io Sky might take the title off of Liv Morgan. So I feel like Liv Morgan is kind of off limits, but if WWE did want to shake things up a little bit ahead of Raw going to Netflix, there is a possibility that Tiffany Stratton could cash in on Liv Morgan. Now, I do think it's very interesting to me because you have a very unique situation, as I said. Both champions on the same team with the Money in the Bank holder. And could a cash-in happen after the match? That's the question. Because if you have the baby faces win, which I think they will, because there's no way you bring Rhea Ripley back from injury if they're going to lose, because they got to set up what could be potentially Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan down the line. And yes, I'm aware that Io Sky technically is number one contender, and she could beat Liv Morgan as well. But if in the event, let's say Rhea or Io pins Nia Jax. Nia Jax is there on the ground. She's been through a exhausting, gruesome Women's War Games match. Tiffany Stratton, she gets up and she realizes the situation that she could very well cash in. And I think this is actually the perfect time, I feel like, because right now WWE has always kind of experimented with new champions around this time of the year. And I feel like this could be it. This could be what sets up going into the road to WrestleMania, going into the Royal Rumble WrestleMania season. And if you have Tiffany Stratton be the champion heading into the new year, you're setting up saying, hey, she could be the champion of WrestleMania. She could not. Now, am I saying that because she cashed in and then she's going to hold it to WrestleMania? Probably. Because given that Triple H does like his long-term title reigns, I do think when Tiffany cashes in, she's not going to have a quick run with the title. So, to me, I think cashing in here Survivor Series is such a unique opportunity that I think WWE should do it, because we saw it last year. Damian Priest tried to cash in the middle of the War Games match. Now that right there, that's another interesting prospect because I just said maybe she cashes in after the match. But what if there's an opportunity during the match that she calls for the referee to give her the briefcase, or that she's going to announce her cash in the middle of the match? That right there is your unique situation that's never been done before with the cash in. We've seen cash-ins happen during, like, middle of the matches, right? We've seen post-match cash-ins. We've seen cash-ins happen when wrestlers are attacked and they're injured, but we've never seen them cashed in a situation like this where you have a match like War Games and you have two champions in the same match that you could cash in on. I think it's such a unique and rare opportunity that I think this should be it. I think this should be where Tiffany Stratton cashes in and becomes champion. But again, you could have probably put another match here. You could have had, let's say, you could have done Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley here. I talked about this before with Rhea Ripley's major injury. And I talked about this. I said, how far are they going to stretch out this whole Rhea Ripley-Liv Morgan feud and rivalry? And, they could have just done the blow-off match here with Rhea versus Liv, and then we just move on from that, instead of stretching out to WrestleMania. Or you could have done Io versus Liv, or you could have just had Nia Jax defend her title against Naomi or Bayley or Bianca or whoever. Like I feel like they rushed it so much that I feel like when they put the teams together, it almost screams that a cash-in is going to happen, but should happen, just because of the uniqueness of the situation. And again, you do have that situation with Tiffany Stratton where she cashes in on Nia Jax. But what if she did cash in on Liv Morgan, right? Because everybody thinks she's going to cash in on Nia Jax. Now, Tiffany Stratton, I think no matter what title she wins, she's obviously has a bright future in WWE regardless of which championship she cashes in on. I think the Raw Women's World title scene needs something like Tiffany Stratton cashing in because it freshens up the entire women's division there on Raw. We don't know if there's going to be a women's Intercontinental Championship yet. They haven't announced it. They're still doing the Women's United States title tournament on SmackDown. But for right now, the whole summer has been Liv versus Rhea. Nobody else has been involved up until at least now with Io Sky. And that was partially just because of Rhea being injured. And so, what is going to happen, right? What is going to happen in Survivor Series? I could see a cash-in happening. I can see it not being a cash-in. I could see them holding off again. But just because of how rare the situation is, the uniqueness of it, that you have both champions and the Money in the Bank contract holder on the same team. I feel like, why would you book this match if there's not going to be a cash-in? Because again, you didn't have to have a women's War Games match. You could have just went on a year without it and just gave us a couple more matches on the card and just did like 2 women's title matches, Liv Morgan, Io Sky, and then Nia Jax against Bianca or Bayley or Naomi, whatever. Instead, that would have filled up the time. Those 2 matches would have filled up the time that the War Games match is going to take up. So, yeah. I feel like if they were going to do this match with the way the teams are, there has to be a cash-in on Saturday. That's all I'm saying. I think it's just so rare in a situation we've never seen before. a cash in a match type like War Games. I think it gives a little bit more, it adds more craziness and unpredictability to future Money in the Bank contract holders, to where, oh, okay, it's not just cashing in the middle of a match or a segment, or I'm announcing my cash in. Now you're opening up that possibility of a cash in a match as crazy and barbaric as War Games. Now imagine if we ever get into a scenario where, let's say, the WWE were to book a Women's Royal Rumble for a vacant world title, right? What if, Nia Jax or Liv Morgan were to tear their ACL just before the Women's Royal Rumble, and they decide, let's make the Women's Royal Rumble for the vacant world title, and then you have the winner of that Rumble go through an entire Royal Rumble, over an hour, whatever the case may be, only to be cashed in on after they just went through a gruesome 1 hour Royal Rumble match. So I think, to me, I want to see a cash in this Saturday. I want to see Tiffany Stratton leave Survivor Series with either the Women's World title by cashing in on Liv Morgan, or the Women's Championship on SmackDown with Nia Jax. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Should Tiffany Stratton cash in her Money in the Bank contract this Saturday at Survivor Series, in which, if she does cash in, I will be live with my reaction as it happens, as I will be live streaming Survivor Series this Saturday at 5:30 p.m. So I hope you will join me, and you will hit that like and subscribe button for more weekly wrestling content right here at Ringside Cinema. I've been your host, Money Mike, and you've been watching Ringside Cinema.
Ringside Cinema, where the battles roar. Ringside Cinema, legends at the core. Tune in, feel the rush. Wrestling meets the screen. Ringside Cinema, living out the dream. Living out the dream. Living out the dream. Lights down, time to go. Cheers for heroes we know. Ringside forever bold. Wrestling never gets old.